Well, our focus today will be on St. Thomas. But at the same time, it is July 3rd. It is the end of the 249th year of the United States of America, because, of course, tomorrow we celebrate the beginning with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But our focus in the church is on St. Thomas. Now, if you've ever heard my homily on St. Thomas, I always explain that many people call St. Thomas the doubter, but that's incorrect, because I always say he never doubted. What he actually did is he got angry that Jesus did not meet his expectations. And that's why he got angry. When they said Jesus resurrected from the dead, he was like, I don't care. He isn't the person that we wanted him to be. He isn't the person that we expected him to be. So I really don't care, was his attitude. Because he has 10 people saying to him, we have seen the risen Lord. And he says, I am not going to believe until I put my fingers in his hands and my hands in his side. But what does that really mean that he's saying? He's saying, I refuse to believe because he is not who I said he was. And he is not who he said he was. And I am viciously angry about that. That's what he's saying. So I always say that he's not doubting Thomas. He's refusing to believe Thomas. Because this is a classic example where Jesus is supposed to meet their expectations and he doesn't. He eventually understands that Jesus is not who he expected him to be. He is far more than that. And so one of those lines that Jesus gives, and we see that in the gospel, is blessed are those who have not seen but believe. But what do they believe? They believe in a Jesus who is not what they expected him to be, which means they came to believe in Jesus who was more than that. This is a powerful reality we've got to understand when we look at St. Thomas. St. Thomas is also very powerful in the Indian, as in Asia type Indian, in the Indian community, because his ministry went all the way to India. And he preached the word there. So that's one of the things that we see about St. Thomas. So one of the lessons we see is expect Jesus to be more than you are already expecting him to be. Because that's what he does. And you see that lesson throughout the Bible. Over and over and over again, we see Jesus go beyond people's expectations. You have Martha and Mary. Martha says to Jesus, if you were here, my brother would not have died. And then he did die. So we were expecting you to heal him. And then what ultimately happens is he does more than was expected. And this is the reality of coming to know Jesus. It is a powerful reality that is central to what we are all about. So when we offer our prayers, remember, the Lord doesn't pray. The Lord doesn't answer our prayers within our own understanding. He answers it as the needs he sees needs to be fulfilled, which may be bigger than we expect. We don't know the bigger picture, which brings us down to probably the most important lesson we've got to learn, is that our understanding of the Lord has to be one of coming to realize that he is, as he's been described by others, the God of surprise. He will show us and lead us to places that we didn't expect. And this is the powerful reality of the Lord. So this is the important thing we want to understand. That's why we pray for what we need, but we expect the Lord to answer in his way, because what we need might be greater than what we think we need. It might be bigger. And so that's pretty powerful. That's indeed pretty powerful stuff. And these are some of the things that we are looking at. One of the things that happened, you remember 2 nights ago, I did a very, very short show. And the reason is because I hadn't slept well, and it was very difficult to do the show. So I ended up doing a shorter show. But tonight I went golfing. Didn't do too well. I'm really bad in golfing. I've done fairly well for my age, but this one was disastrous. And it's almost embarrassing when you're trying to golf and you realize that your golfing is so bad. So in any case, and the other 2 guys were doing good. It almost got to a point where I was just like, I'll pick up. And that's the way it went. But it's interesting because 2 nights ago, I had no energy whatsoever. And now, of course, I have some energy, and that's important. And so we look at that and we're saying, well, I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to sleep. But now, after doing all this, and now I'm doing my show, which you're hearing here on Friday, and I'm putting it all together. We're going to take a break right after this. You're listening to the Catholic Audio Media Podcast.
Have you ever wanted to read the Bible but didn't know which readings to check out? Well, how about looking at the Church's daily readings? You can find them at the website of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Just go to bible.usccb.org and click on the date that pops up on that page. There are other options on that page as well. That is bible.usccb.org, and click on the date and you will see the daily readings for your own prayer and study of the Bible. This is a prayerful tip from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Catholic Audio Media. Patreon.com/Catholic Audio Media. Check us out. Check what we have to offer. Previews of upcoming podcasts. Previews of upcoming columns over at catholicaudiomedia.substack.com. Your ability to comment, make suggestions, even make suggestions in upcoming programs. Check us out. Patreon.com, Catholic Audio Media.
Well, do enjoy your 4th of July weekend. We start with a whole new week on Monday. So come to enjoy it, celebrate what the week has to offer you. We'll get back to our regular schedule on Monday. But in the meantime, we will see you then. Have a great 4th of July weekend, and we will see you on Monday.
Did you know that Catholic TV offers free apps for both Android and iOS users? Visit the website catholictv.com or your app store to download this faith resource to your device. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Catholic Audio Media. Patreon.com/Catholic Audio Media. Check us out. Check what we have to offer. Previews of upcoming podcasts. Previews of upcoming columns over at catholicaudiomedia.substack.com. Your ability to comment, make suggestions, even make suggestions in upcoming programs. Check us out. Patreon.com, Catholic Audio Media.
Yeah. You know the real is back. Father Carr Chaplain from the City of Champions, dropping daily reflections coming straight from the field. The raw truth revealed for the strong-willed. It's the Greatest Act of Defiance podcast with your host, Father Carr, a message built to last. The Greatest Act of Defiance podcast. That's right, the Greatest Act of Defiance. Word up. Word up. Word up. Word up.
The Catholic teaching in this podcast is reflected and presented as accurately as possible. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the Archdiocese of Boston or any other institution.